What the heck is going on? Why am I wearing a mask? Well, I'm out and about. Why did I break down and get a selfie stick like a modern day pleb and have a lav mic? I have been incredibly busy. I'm running around trying to get this freaking album done, doing a whole bunch of crap. That's why I'm still wearing my workout clothes. Combination of trying to get my ass back into shape and being slightly behind on our production schedule has made it now so where I'm gonna be out a lot, and I wanted to still be able to make some cool videos for you with some, frankly, much more awesome backdrops, but also get all the other shit I need to get done. So today's Ask a Music Snob. For those who don't know, I post a story on my Instagram. You can go ahead and follow the Instagram in the link below. You can ask me any questions you want to ask. I pick out the ones that I like and I go ahead and answer them. Let's just jump into it. So why don't I like Megadeth that much? Interesting question. First and foremost, like a lot of the times that I've talked about Megadeth, Dave Mustaine can't sing for shit, and I think he should obviously realize this. And it's not like he has the excuse anymore that it's like, oh, I have to sing, somebody has to sing, like James Hetfield's excuse for why he was the singer for Metallica. It's like, there's gotta be words, somebody's gotta sing it. Dave Mustaine has enough money to hire a singer, and he still neglects to hire a singer. He hires some of the greatest freaking guitar players known to mankind, can't find someone who can sing better than him, highly fucking doubt it. So that's point one. Point two is just structure-wise with his songwriting, I never think that it's that great. I don't find most of the songs that he writes to be incredibly effective on a composition level. If you take a look at how he builds timbres and how he builds moods and does that very heavy, emphatic thing in a metal way, yeah, he does that very well on a small scale, but as a bigger picture and how everything works together from part to part, and even a lot of the ways that he writes his vocal melodies, I'm not really a big fan of. I don't find it to be that effective. I mean, a few compliments I'll give to Megadeth. One, their tone has always been really good. And at least until Metallica teamed up with Bob Rock, they were definitely getting better guitar tones than Metallica. And the guitar players that Dave Mustaine hired are and were ridiculous. I mean, Marty Friedman and Kiko LaRue, and I think Chris Broderick was in there. Some of the greatest guys to ever pick up a guitar. So I don't like hate Megadeth, I just don't understand why people love them as much as they do. Yeah, it just never really did anything for me, man. I feel like there's a lot better stuff out there in the metal world, in the rock shred world. Next question. I'm 30 years old, is it still worth trying to learn to play the guitar? What do you guys think?
Absolutely, sure.
I definitely agree. I think it's totally worth it. Learning to play the guitar and learning an instrument in general isn't just about having to be the best at it or be what someone else perceives as competent. I would say the vast majority of people who play instruments do it for the enjoyment of playing the instrument. Don't let age be an obstacle to you doing something you enjoy. That's all I can say. Next question. My parents say that being critical about music is a bad thing. What do you think? What the fuck do you think I think? I mean, if you're always just constantly critical about everything musical and can't see the good points of the music, then yeah, I think that that's not a good thing. But as with anything else you take seriously or anything that you place a lot of personal value on, I think music is far more valuable than what people honestly realize. It's a lot more spiritual than what people really realize, even though they say it. Sound of Music by Porcupine Tree kind of illustrates some of that a little bit. If something is that important and you care about something that deeply, not trying to be critical of what you produce, what other people produce, and seeing how to actually improve upon that, not just tear something down for the sake of tearing it down, I think means that you're not taking it as seriously as you think you are. And if you just think that music is not something to be taken seriously, then we have a fundamental disagreement there. Next question. What is your favorite meme from Song Suggestion Friday? Most likely, there's a bunch of them, honestly. I love the fact that the Song Suggestion Friday stream is its own little micro community within my YouTube channel. Is so much fun. Easily my favorite meme has gotta be David Fields, just him as a person. His YouTube icon is freaking Ferris Bueller with the sunglasses on and the hands back, and just like his personality just so reflects that. Doesn't matter what the hell it is, he's just like, fuck yeah, it's awesome. Which actually, soon I'm gonna have available some t-shirts of memes from Song Suggestion Friday, one of which being the David Fields t-shirt. I have a couple others lined up there too for you guys to buy, so keep your eyes out for that. Fucking keep rocking on, David Fields, you crazy bastard. Next question. Can I learn to play guitar correctly just off of YouTube videos? This actually be a good one for you guys. What do you think? Let's start with Dax.
Oh yeah, of course. If I were really gonna try to do something with guitar today, I probably would do Tim Pierce's thing.
Word, all right.
Just block out everything else, do the Tim Pierce. You'll get chops, musicality, all the important things.
All right, Chris, what do you think, man?
I say kind of, yes, a little bit.
Okay, what's your
I think
exception?
there's some things that you have to learn on your own, and I'm jaded towards it because.
Well, I think that's kind of part of it too, is the fact like instead of going to like lessons or anything, you could do it just by YouTubing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, compared to when I was a kid, it's fantastic to have that resource. So I'm all for it. I applaud it. I love it. I think there's some things though you just can't come across on a video. I'm sure you could probably sway me. You've swayed me on many things.
All right, so my particular thoughts on this, I think that it's possible. I don't think it's necessarily the most ideal way to do it. I did make an entire video talking about like, oh, this is why you shouldn't go to music school. And I think for a lot of people that does apply, but you can't compare online lessons, whether that be through YouTube videos or a subscription model, to being taught in person by a professional who really knows what they're doing. I even offered online lessons one-on-one with me for a little bit. That still is not the same as having lessons in person because I wasn't able to sit there and show them how to properly place their fingers, even though I already have my own issues with that, but regardless. So yeah, I definitely think it's possible, though it's definitely not the easiest way to do it, though it is definitely a much more cost-effective way to do it. There's so much good information out on YouTube nowadays. You could learn a lot from online lessons. Next question. This person just asked parallel fifths, and I assume I already know what this is about. So back in, I forget which era of music, I want to say it was before Baroque or during Baroque, I don't remember. It's been a long time since I was in music school. But the point being, there was a rule for chorale writing, or there's a lot of rules for chorale writing, one of which had to do with parallel fifths. What are parallel fifths? So remember when I talk about voice leading or voicing for a certain type of arrangement or composition or something like that? So that literally came from, I believe, the chorale version of this, where you would have 4 voices, soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, and you would have to write these voices, all 4 of them, in a way that worked on an individual level as a melody, but also worked all together as a harmony. And voice leading is how each of these voices change note to note over the whole song. If 2 voices moved in a parallel fifth, that is, they both moved a fifth in the same direction, then that was considered breaking the rule. Or they also had it for octaves, and they had some other rules in there too that I don't remember offhand. And you would think to yourself, well, why do they have these rules? And then you listen back to a composition that you wrote that has parallel fifths in it, and you're just like, ugh, that's why. It just doesn't sound right with the vocal timbre specifically. It does work with other timbres. And nowadays, I think we've moved far beyond that you can actually use parallel fifths and parallel octaves as a verifiable way, I don't know what the right word is, an okay way of writing, but it has a certain effect to it. Back in the day, people did not like that effect as much. Next question. Someone asks, how happy am I? Interesting question. Very personal one, by the way. All in all, I'd say I'm pretty dang happy, to be honest with you. Am I as happy as I would like to be? No, but I'm working towards it, and that makes me happy. I'm in a band with a bunch of talented guys. We're working on an album right now. We're making music that I think kicks a hell of a lot of ass, and I'm extremely excited to show you guys. I'm doing music and YouTube full time. Hard to say that that's awful. My financial situation's looking good. I have a bunch of opportunities ahead of me. I'm meeting different people pretty much every week in the music industry from different facets of it who are really cool people for my network, but at the same time are genuinely just really cool people. I'm only meeting as many as I am because I live in the best city for music in the world. I'm grateful for my good health. I'm grateful I'm out here getting my damn steps in and also doing my workouts. I can keep listing a whole bunch of things that I'm super grateful for and very happy about. My family, oh my goodness, my family. So yeah, I am extremely grateful. And when you're really grateful for things, that's happiness. Next question. Do I think it's worth getting into the music industry right now? Because this guy is talking about how in jeopardy it is as it stands. So there's a couple of schools of thought to that. There's a lot of different moving parts to the music industry and a lot of different facets that you can get into. If you're asking if you should get into any of the traditional roles of the music industry besides being a musician or an audio engineer, I would say no. But the points at which industries fail, you have 2 points of view on this. You can either look at it as a problem that's going to bring everyone down and be a pessimist about it, or you can look at it from more of a degree of gratitude and look at it as this is what is in front of us right now. These are problems that are happening. Do I have to run and cry like a bitch for help from other people on the outside to come and fix it? Or do I look at problems as opportunities for solutions? Like I had said before, we have all these people talking about how fucking creative they are musically, but aren't creative business-wise, and I think that that's highly ironic. So are you up to the challenge of coming up with good solutions to these problems of the modern music industry? That's up to you. Me, I'm hungry, and I'm ready to win. Have I ever lost the motivation for getting back to learning guitar? All the time. Currently, it has a lot more to do with balancing priorities and the amount of time that it would take to actually learn something properly and hopefully not half-ass it. Because half-ass learning something, while it can be cool to give you your own unique voice, it also can hinder you from learning a lot of other really cool techniques. Just looking at myself in the mirror at this one, that cloud looks awesome. At this point, I would say I have too many things going on with YouTube, social media, and again, the band, which hopefully that'll clear up soon. Once we're done with this album, I'll be digging a lot further into learning things that I have never learned before. But we have so much going on there that I just really don't think I have the time to put into learning new stuff at the moment. But there have been other times in my life where I've been unmotivated to learn new things, and I think that partly had to do with not being focused, partly had to do with my attitude of failing at the things that I wanted to learn, not knowing how to practice properly, and maybe even in some instances biting off more than I can chew. One of the easiest ways to not get discouraged by learning something new or practicing something is remember to have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, you're gonna lose interest. How do you make riffs more interesting and complex? I think interesting is interesting. I think interesting is a much more useful word here than complex. So remember when we were talking about parallel fifths, what I was talking about with voice leading? Understanding the groove that you write on a riff and how all the other instruments are going to work within that, or if you already have instruments set up, writing a riff that complements that well, that's how you write a good riff. Now obviously there's a lot of great riffs out there that are really freaking simple, but considering we've already been through that phase of rock and metal, and we've kind of explored everything that, I shouldn't say everything, but most of what can be explored there, it's gonna be very difficult to write a bare bones blues-inspired riff and have it not sound derivative. It's gonna be very difficult. If you're not worried about sounding derivative, don't worry about anything I'm saying. And I will be putting out a course, I freaking promise, that is goal number 1 right after I get the Crusade album finished, is I will be releasing a songwriting course focused around riff writing and voice leading and melodic phrasing for your riffs. What gauge strings do you use? I use Ernie Ball Paradigms 12 to 56. I've been loving Ernie Balls. I've had them for a while now. They're Paradigms. I think of all of the Paradigms I've ever had, I've only ever had one high E string break. That's it. And I've been using Paradigms for a number of years now. Since they were announced, and I saw that Paul Gilbert video of him taking that drill, running it across the freaking guitar, throwing his damn Strat on the ground, and just stomping on the shit out of it. Holy crap, dude. I was like, well, I'm sold. So yes, go ahead and grab yourself some Ernie Ball Paradigms. I prefer 12 to 56s when I'm tuning to C standard. Now I know Rick Beato said for E standard, he likes 9 to 42s, and he did a comparison of them with 10 to 46 and 9 to 42s. I wanna say it's 9 to 42. And yeah, for that specific guitar tone that he dialed in, you did get more mid-range, and it did feel more rock. But there are numerous different factors in the guitar itself, of what string company you're using, of your signal chain, as to determine what gauge of strings, what company of strings is really going to best fit your sound. A 42 gauge string as your lowest string, tuned down to B, is gonna sound like shit. It's not gonna sound as good as a 56 gauge string tuned down to B flat. And that's another thing too, if you're gonna be switching the gauges of your strings, make sure you get a proper setup done on your guitar. Changing gauges of strings, especially so drastically from 12 to 56 to 10 to 46, there is a world of difference that you're gonna need changed on your guitar. Digital or tube amp? That's the question. So there's a couple of different ways you could interpret this, because there are so many amp sims out there that simulate tube amps and they do a really good job of it. Or you could be talking about a solid state amp, which is still a physical piece of gear, versus a tube amp. Almost every single time, if we're not talking about modelers, I would far prefer a tube preamp to a solid state preamp. There are some amplifiers that actually do a combination of the two, kind of like a hybrid. But amp simulation has come so far, things like Axe Effects, Line 6, Helix, Kemper. At this point, it's very difficult to justify dropping the cash. There may be some noticeable difference in how the tubes actually act, which is important, and how they take on your effects in a truly analog way as opposed to a simulated analog way. But if you want to maximize your tone quality without having to drop thousands and thousands of dollars on multiple different types of amplifiers, I would recommend getting amp simulation. But at the end of the day, on a very visceral level, there's something that you just can't beat about a fucking awesome tube amp. So that's it for today's Ask a Music Snob. Appreciate you guys watching. If you like the video, drop a like. If you're new here, subscribe, that'd be awesome too. Interested to know what you guys think of this new format. I'm definitely gonna be trying a few more videos like this, especially considering how busy I am right now. Support me on Subscribestar, link to that down below. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Become the Night. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Rock on.